If you've never taken a yoga class before, that's great. Welcome. I'm happy to have you. I do start slow, and this class is beginner friendly in the sense that I build up a pose. I talk about alignment. I don't just call it a pose and expect you to know where we're headed. So it is beginner friendly in that sense. We do start with a very slow warm up. Target bodies, areas of the body that we're going to revisit later in the class. We get into the bulk of our class, we're moving around a lot more on the mat, and then we finish with a final rest period on our back where we stay for about 3 minutes with our eyes closed, nice, still, and in silence. I'd say that is the most important part of the class. It is just a time for your body to absorb everything that we've put it through, all the processes we put it through, and it's also a time for reflection. Take a look at what's going on the inside. Yoga is not just about what we do on our physical body. A large part of the practice doesn't include movement at all. I want to remind everyone to always listen to your body, take breaks if you need, and always make sure you check with a doctor before you start a new exercise plan. Just a heads up, there has been a dog barking outside for like the past hour. I did not want to record during this time, but I don't think there's an end in sight. So I apologize if you hear the barking going on. Today, we're gonna need a prop. You're gonna need a yoga strap. So I'll give you a second to pause the video and grab that if you have one. If you don't have one, that's okay. We can use stuff around the house. So you just need something that's long enough that you can hold overhead that'll be longer than shoulder width distance. So you could use a belt, you could use a rolled up beach towel. I offered in my Wednesday class, it could just be some clothes, like these are a pair of pajama pants that I have that I was wearing last night. Could definitely double as a yoga strap. Take a second, grab something that'll work for you, and then meet me back on your mat. We're gonna start in a comfortable seated position facing the front of your mat, either cross leg or maybe a loose diamond shape, whatever is comfortable for you. Find some length through the spine, ground your sits bones into the floor, and then tilt your head down towards your chest. And just pick a spot on the floor that you can stare at for the next few minutes and keep your gaze there. All I need you to do in this moment in time is just deepen your breath. Start to breathe in through nose and out through mouth. Any feelings and emotions that we're holding on to that no longer serve our life purpose will leave the body on the exhale. You can lift your head and look forward, and then sit on your hands. Keep the spine nice and long and relax shoulders down the back. Tilt your head over to one side, starting to stretch the neck. Sometimes I naturally close my eyes in the warm-up. You're welcome to do so at any time during the class if it feels right for you. Lift your head through center and let it fall to the opposite side. Lift your head through center and then remove your hands from your seat. Interlace the fingers, take them to the back of the head and gently press your chin down towards your chest. Now getting a stretch on the back side of the neck. Maybe you feel the stretch going down the back as well. Release and take the tips of the fingers to the bottom of the chin and tilt your head up towards the ceiling, stretching the front side of the neck, opening the throat. And release, head through center. Go ahead and grab your strap or your makeshift strap. Take an end in each hand and lift the strap overhead. Start with the hands wider than shoulder distance apart. Then begin to lower the strap down in front of you, nice and slow. Lift it back up overhead and take it behind the back. Bring it back up overhead and pause here. So if that was hard for you to do with your arms straight, widen your grip. So the wider the hands are apart, the easier it will be for you to take the hands down the back. So let's start again. Arms coming down and around the front. Nice slow movement. Arms up overhead. Arms behind the back. Arms come up. And same thing. We're going to keep doing this a few times through at your own pace. Lowering the arms in front and then lowering behind. We're going to stick with this for another 20 seconds or so. We're opening the shoulders and opening the chest. Keep your breath nice and steady. And then finish this last set up. And we'll all meet with arms back up overhead. Add a side bend now. So we're going to switch side to side. And even though we're side bending to one side, try to keep the length on both sides of the body, spine long, extending out through the crown of the head. A few more times, back and forth, opening the chest and the sides of the body. Then finish up, lower arms down and place your strap off to the side. We're going to grab it in a second, so don't toss it too far. Spinal twist to the right, placing your right hand directly behind you, left hand in front, and gaze over right shoulder. Still working with the spine here, but getting a nice stretch in the core. Gently unwind and spinal twist to the opposite side. This time, right hand is directly in front. And gently unwind. Extend both legs forward and flex the feet, starting in staff pose with hands on either sides of your hips. Find length up through the spine and take a few rounds of breath here. Maybe starting to feel a little stretch in the legs. If you do, slight bend in the knee, you can find some ease. Then relax into a neutral spine. Go ahead and grab that strap again for me, and we're going to place it around the balls of the feet, taking an end in each hand. Remember, knees can be gently bent if the legs are very tight. Start by lengthening the spine. If you'd like to take the pose a step further and add a bit of a fold, you're going to hinge from the hips, leading with the ribs and pulling yourself forward. The moment that your spine starts to round, you've taken it too far. Find a place you can hang out for a few breaths. Gaze is down towards the legs. Shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Slowly release the rise out of the fold if you leaned forward. Bend the left knee and bring the bottom of that foot to the inside of the right thigh. Same thing, just one leg at a time now. Start by finding the length. And then if you'd like to add the fold, you're pulling yourself forward, leading with the ribs. Gaze is down towards the leg. Rise up if you fell forward and extend the legs forward so both feet are back on the strap. Now right knee bends and bottom of foot comes to the inside of left thigh. Find the length through the spine and fall forward if you choose to do so. Gently release, rise out of the fold, extend both legs forward once again, and remove the strap. So we're done with the strap now. You can place it off to the side. Bring the bottoms of the feet together into butterfly stretch, pressing firmly into the pinky edges of the toes, and again, finding length through the spine. Take a few deep breaths into the chest. Allowing tension in the hips to release. Extend the legs forward, then swing them behind you, coming into a tabletop position, wrists stacked under shoulders and knees stacked underneath the hips. Round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest, drawing belly in. Then lift and arch to cow, gazes up to ceiling and belly hangs. Again, rounding the spine. And we'll find a little rock this time, rocking forwards and backwards. Then lift and arch the spine and find that same rock. Same thing, round the spine. You can continue with the rock or hold steady, whichever feels better for you. And find your cow, arching the spine. Settle into stillness in your tabletop position. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your right leg behind you. Point through the toes. Give me a crunch. Knee to chest. Round the spine. Pull the belly in nice and high. Then step or place your foot into lunge. Ankle below knee and foot in between hands. Draw the breath in through your nose as you slowly lift both arms overhead and exhale here. Deep breath in through your nose. Out through the mouth. Again, in through nose. Out through mouth. On your next exhale, fingertips come down to the floor. Extend your right leg behind you, point through the toes, and return to your tabletop position. Left leg extends, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, pull the belly in, then step or place the foot into lunge. Draw the breath in through your nose, lifting both arms overhead. Nice slow movement, and exhale here. Breath in through nose, out through mouth. Breath in, and breath out. On your next exhale, fingertips come back down to the floor. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes, and return to tabletop. Lower into puppy pose, dropping elbows to mat, directly under shoulders, palms face down, and head relaxes. Take a few moments of breath here. If you'd like to increase sensation for the shoulders, inch the elbows forward, hollow out the armpits. So inner rotation or outer rotation, of the upper arms. Then settle into child's pose. Hips come all the way down to heels and forehead rest on the mat. Take a few breaths here, separate the knees, make some space for your belly. This is our rest position throughout the class. You're more than welcome to take this at any time. If you're feeling any discomfort in your knees in your child's pose, you're welcome to take your rest position in puppy with elbows stacked under shoulders. So don't walk the arms forward. Take another few deep breaths here to finish our warm-up. And meet me back in a tabletop position, spreading the fingers nice and wide and tucking toes onto the mat, preparing for our first down dog. If you're familiar, go ahead and lift the hips now. Otherwise, we're going to break it down into parts. Start by lifting the knees off the mat. Keeping the knees bent, we'll send the hips up to the ceiling and bring our belly back towards our thighs, looking between the feet. Pressing firmly into the top of the palm and out through the pads of the fingers. Don't let all the weight bear into the bottom of the palm where the hand meets the wrist. And take some deep breaths. Upper arms are still rotating outwards. We're hollowing the armpits just like we did in our puppy pose. Then we'll look forward, start to shift the weight forward, and step or place our right foot back into lunge, lifting up to the tips of the fingers and sending our chest forward. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, back is flat. Lower to folds, bend the knees so belly can touch the thighs, let arms and head hang heavy. And one vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position. Slowly lift the arms overhead and gaze up towards the hands. Lower to fold, bring the hands together, hinge at the hips, belly touches thighs, arms and head hang. Bend the knees enough so belly can touch the thighs. Rise to half lift, flatten the back, hands to shins, shoulders draw away from the ears. Step back into a plank position, bend the knees so you can step back into a traditional plank. Wrists are stacked under shoulders, then lower the knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga until shoulders pass the wrists, then bend the elbows, keeping them close to body, bringing chest down to mat, bringing hips down to mat, tops of feet to floor. Lift the chest to baby cobra, using the strength of your core, not how hard you can push your hands into the mat. Then press into your rest position. You can take puppy pose, elbows to mat, or child's pose, hips to heels, yogi's choice, and take a breath or two here. Slowly rise back to tabletop, spread the fingers nice and wide, tuck toes onto the mat, and we'll find our down dog. Lift the knees up, hips to ceiling, belly back towards thighs, and gaze is in between the feet. Down dog is great for a total body stretch. Nice length in the spine. We're strengthening the arms and the legs. Deep breaths. Shift your weight forward and step or place your left foot into lunge. Lifting up to tips of fingers, then step up to half lift, hands to shins, flatten that back, gazes to the floor. Lower to fold, belly meets thighs, arms and head hang to floor, and we round the spine up to a standing position. Taking your time, let your chin come up from the chest, very last. Again, lifting arms overhead, gaze is up. Lowering to fold, belly comes down to thighs. Same thing through. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step into a plank position, plant those hands nice and firmly, and lower knees to tabletop. Lean forward for chaturanga, shoulders past the wrist, bend elbows close to body, come all the way flat to mat. Inhale to lift the chest, baby cobra, shoulder blades reaching to touch. And press to your rest position, puppy pose or child's. Slowly rise back to tabletop and lift the hips for down dog, up towards the ceiling, knees stay bent. If this is your first few times through, take a few deep breaths and gaze between the feet. Hips stay reaching high towards the ceiling. And we'll step our right foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Step up to half lift, flattening the back. Lower to fold, belly to thighs, and slowly rise up to a standing position. Last time through, bring those arms up overhead, deep breath in. And exhale to fold, belly meets the thighs. Rise, half lift. Step into plank. And meet me in a tabletop position, knees to mat. Find chaturanga, lean forward, lower all the way down. Lift the chest as you inhale, baby cobra, and exhale to your rest position. As soon as you settle into your rest position, draw the breath in and rise to tabletop. We're going to keep our heart rate up, and we'll find our down dog position on the exhale. Hips go up to ceiling. So options to take your down dog a little further. You can start to straighten the legs, straightening one at a time. So one leg straightens, you press the heel down to the floor, and we switch to the other side. So I encourage you, for new practitioners, to start here. If you're ready, straightening one leg at a time. Look forward, step or place right foot into lunge. Breathe in as you rise to half lift. Exhale to forward fold. Try to draw the inhale out as you slowly rise to standing, although it's okay if you cannot. And exhale at the top. Inhale, lift your arms to shoulder height. And exhale, give yourself a hug, dropping chin to chest, opening the back side of the body. Take a breath or two here. As we inhale, we'll lift the arms back to shoulder height, lift them right up overhead, and lower back to fold. Belly comes down to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten the back. Step into a plank position, and meet me back in tabletop, knees to mat. Lift up to the tips of the fingers. Extend your left leg behind you, pointing through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest around the spine, belly in, step or place the foot into lunge. Draw the breath in through the nose as you slowly lift both arms overhead and exhale here. So option to add a bit of a back bend. If you have low back pain, skip this part. You'll start by sending the hips forward, lifting through the chest, as if you had a string attached to your heart and someone was pulling you up to the sky. Belly is still engaged. We're holding here, not holding the breath. And as we exhale, we'll bring fingertips down to the mat. Tuck right toes on the mat and lift that knee in the air, lifting up to pointer and middle finger. Two options to get you into high lunge. Option one is to slowly lift both arms overhead, challenging your balance. Or option two is to bring hands to the thighs first and then extend arms overhead. Makes it a little easier on you. However you can meet me in high lunge, meet me here. Left knee is stacked over the ankle, and we're on the ball of the right foot. Open a 5-pointed star, so turn to face the right side of your mat. Feet are flat, now facing forward and arms lower to shoulder height. Turn just the left foot towards the front of the mat and bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it right over the ankle. Hips and shoulders are still facing the long edge of your mat, and we're gazing over the left hand. Take a breath or two here. Straighten the leg. Reach forward for triangle pose and then find a side bend, bringing right arm up towards the ceiling. Gaze is up towards the upraised hand. Try to refrain from poking your left hip out towards the back behind you. Instead, tuck it up and under so it's in line with the right. As if someone was pulling you by your right hand, we'll rise back to standing. Meet me back in warrior two, knee bends. And we'll windmill the arms down to lunge, lifting right heel back off the mat. Step into your plank position. Lower the knees to tabletop. Lower to chaturanga, shoulders past the wrist. We lower all the way down, nice and slow. Inhale to lift the chest, baby cobra, and exhale to your chosen rest position, puppy or child's. And just know you're more than welcome to switch up your rest position if you like. You're not married to one or the other. Make your practice your own. Take another deep breath or two here. Inhale as you rise to tabletop, And exhale as you find down dog, hips up to ceiling. Remembering that you can work here, bending one knee and then the other, relieving tension in the back side of the legs, so that eventually one day, maybe not today and maybe not tomorrow, we can straighten both legs towards the mat. If you're trying to do that now, make sure the back does not round. If it did, you need to take it a step backwards and keep the knees bent for a tad bit more. Look forward and step or place your left foot into lunge, lifting up to tips of fingers. Inhale as we rise to half lift, flattening the back. Exhale as we lower to fold and let belly touch the thighs, and try to draw the inhale out as you slowly rise to standing, then exhale at the top. Inhale, arms up to shoulder height, and exhale, give yourself a hug, chin to chest. Inhale, arms back to shoulder height, lift them right up overhead, and use your exhale to move into forward fold, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten your back. Step into your plank position and meet me in tabletop, knees to mat. Lift up to the tips of your fingers and extend your left leg behind, right leg behind you, point through the toes. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, step or place the foot into lunge. Draw the breath in through your nose as you lift both arms overhead and exhale here. If you're opting for the back bend on this side, we send the hips forward and lift the heart up to the sky. On your next exhale, return fingertips to the mat. Lift the left knee off the mat, lifting up to tips of fingers, and then you have options for high lunge. Remember, you can lift both arms directly overhead or bring hands to thighs first, whatever works best for you. And take a few deep breaths here into the chest. Open a 5-pointed star facing the left side of your mat, feet forward and arms are at shoulder height. Now just the right foot turns forward towards the front of the mat, and we'll bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it right over ankle, holding here. Straighten the forward leg, reach to the front of the mat and find triangle into side bend, left arm up to the ceiling. Left ribs reach to the ceiling. Then if someone pulled us up by our left hand, we'll rise to standing, return to warrior two, knee bends, and find our lunge position, hands to mat. Step back into plank, lower knees to tabletop, lower to chaturanga, nice and slow with control. Inhale to baby cobra, and exhale to your rest position, and take a few rounds of breath here. Inhale as you rise to tabletop. Exhale as you find your downward facing dog. Nice deep breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Step or place your right foot into lunge. Inhale as you rise up to half lift. Exhale as you meet me in forward fold, and try to draw the inhale out as you slowly rise to standing. Take a deep breath in through your nose, lift arms out at your sides, up overhead. As you exhale out through your mouth, we'll lower arms back down to our sides. For our balancing pose today, we're going to take dancer pose. We've done a lot of chest opening. So you're going to start with all your weight in the left foot. Plant that foot firmly to the ground, lift the toes up, spread them nice and wide, then return them to the mat. Tiny micro bend in the standing leg, so don't lock out the joint. We want to rely on our muscle to hold us up, not our joint. Lift the left arm up to the ceiling, then bend right knee and grab a hold of your foot from the outside, at the ankle if you can. Draw the knees nice and close together. So you can work here. If you're struggling already, just lower the right toes down to the mat and lift them back up a few times for the remainder of the practice. Try to keep your gaze focused on one spot. If you feel pretty steady here, you can take it a step further by gently kicking into your hand and lifting your chest up to the sky. If you want to take it even further, you can begin to fall forward. Keep kicking into the hand. Don't hold the breath. If you fall out of the pose in whatever version you're in, it is okay. Jump back in and join us where you're at. Another breath or two here. If you fell forward, we're going to slowly rise back to standing. And we'll all lower our foot and our arm back down at our sides. We're going to switch the standing leg to the right leg now. Same thing, plant that foot, lift the toes up, spread them wide, and return them to the mat. Right arm comes up to ceiling. Bend the left knee and grab a hold of the ankle. Draw the knees close together. If you're taking it a step further, start to kick into the hands. You need that core strength and lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Don't skip this step. If you're taking it further, you're falling forward. Keep kicking into the hands. Keep the right arm raised high. Deepen the breath. Slowly rise back up to standing if you fell forward, and we'll all lower our hands and our legs down by our sides. Bend the knees, give those standing legs a break. Give me a deep breath, arms out of your sides, up overhead. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Again, deep breath in. Exhale. Last time, breath in. Exhale to forward fold this time, belly meets the thighs. And we're going to hang out here in a forward fold variation. We're going to take our peace fingers, pointer finger in middle, wrap them around the big toes. Start by lengthening the spine, looking forward. Then as we find the fold, hinging at the hips, dropping belly to thighs, elbows point out to the long edges of the mat as crown of the head reaches towards the floor. Send the weight into the balls of the feet, but don't let the heels lift off the mat. We get some nice length in our low back. We were strengthening it, asking it to work in our balancing posture. So now we're going to lengthen that portion of our back out. Give it a nice stretch. Release your toes and find half lift. Hands to shins, back is flat. Step into your plank position. And we're going to hold this plank here for 10 seconds. Don't hold the breath. Keep body nice and strong. Core, shoulders, sides, legs, everything. And we'll slowly make our way down to our belly. However is comfortable for you. All the way down. Place your arms along your sides, palms face up, and turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Let the big toes touch, let heels fall out, and wiggle the shoulders away from the ears. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, let everything go onto your mat. All I need you to do in this moment is just breathe. Now gently turn your head to the opposite side. Taking a rest on this side as well. Bring your chin to the mat, place your hands underneath your shoulders, and press yourself into your rest position one final time. Slowly meet me in a seated position with your legs extended out in front of you, sitting in the center of your mat. Flex the feet. Lift the arms overhead, drop chin to chest, then round the spine into rounded back stretch, lowering hands to knees, thumbs on the inside and elbows out to the long edges of the mat. Melt the shoulders away from the ears and take a few deep breaths here. Slowly extend the spine up towards the ceiling. Plant hands on either sides of your hips into staff pose, finding length up towards the ceiling. Then relax into a neutral spine. Bend your right knee, placing your foot on the mat. Use your left arm to hold on to the bent knee and we'll spinal twist towards that bent leg. Free hand places directly behind us and we're gazing towards the back of the mat. Take a deep breath in through your nose, and as you exhale out through your mouth, we'll gently unwind and face forward. Straighten the bent knee. Bend the left knee this time, foot to mat. Right arm holds on. We spinal twist, free hand directly behind us. Take a deep breath in through nose, exhale out through mouth, and return to center. Straighten the legs. Bring the bottoms of the feet together again, back into butterfly pose. Find length through the spine. And then round the spine, chin to chest. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale as you round. Again, inhaling to lengthen, exhaling to round. Last time, breath in and breath out. Draw the knees together like you're closing a book, making sure you're still in the center of your mat. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs and roll down until you're flat on your back. Draw both knees in towards the chest. Wrap your arms below the knees and squeeze the thighs close to body. Feet are side by side. Gently tuck your chin in towards your chest to help lengthen the back side of the neck. And if you're feeling any discomfort on your knees, you can hold on to the back of the thighs instead. This is a great stretch for the low back, so we're going to hold for a few moments here. Gently start to rock side by side. Then find stillness. Place your hands on the back side of your thighs. If they're not there already, then extend the legs up to the ceiling into our inversion. Hands on the back of the thighs for support. Heels are hovering about over the hips. Doesn't need to be exact. I'm going to take about 45 seconds here. Inversions are great for inducing relaxation, so we usually practice them towards the end of our yoga practice. If it starts to become a challenge to leave both legs extended up, you can draw the knees in towards the chest, but keep the heels elevated. You might find a little bit of ease that way. Draw the knees all the way into the chest and lower the heels down towards the body. Release your arms out at the floor at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall to the right into reclined spinal twist as head turns to the left. This is our last pose before we finish our class. I encourage you to close your eyes as we start to turn our attention inwards. Slowly draw knees back to the center of the chest and let the knees fall over to the left as head turns to the right. Breathing here. Then we draw the knees back to center of the chest, wrap our arms around the legs, pulling them close to the body. Lift our head to meet our knees. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it here. Then slowly exhale out through the mouth. Release the body to lay flat on the mat. Spread your arms and legs as wide as you can. Palms are face up, eyes are closed. Take a deep breath in through the nose once again. As we exhale out through the mouth, let everything go onto your mat. As we settle into our final resting pose, bring your attention to your breath. Just follow the rise and the fall of your chest. Each time you breathe in, imagine your body illuminating with life, passion, determination. Keep your focus on your breath, and I'll let you know when it's time to rise. your focus has wandered, bring your attention back to your breath. Begin to deepen your breath. Begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Bring movement back to your body. Then roll over to the right side of your body and take a moment of stillness on your side. You can use your arm as a pillow if you want. Keeping your eyes closed or your gaze low to the floor, gently press yourself up to a seated position. As always, to finish class, we take 3 cleansing breaths together as one. That's breathing in through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. We're going to take a 3-part breath today. So we inhale, belly, ribs, and chest. And we exhale from chest, ribs, and then belly. 3 times through. So let's all start on an exhale, releasing all the breath we have out of the body. Breathing in through the nose, filling belly first, filling ribs, filling chest, exhaling chest, ribs, and belly. Breathing into the belly for 2, filling ribs, breathe into chest, and we exhale chest, ribs, and belly. Deepest breath yet as we fill belly for 3. Fill up the ribs, fill up the chest. Exhale from the chest, exhale from ribs, exhale from belly. Take a second and thank yourself for taking the time to take this class today. And I want to acknowledge that I recognize the light that exists with each and every one of you, even though we are not together, as well as the light that exists within me. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I know there was a bunch of background noise going on. I did not pick the right time to record this video. I do apologize about that. But if you enjoyed this class, please join me again. A new version of this class is aired every Monday at 8 a.m. If you're looking for something a little more challenging, I encourage you to try out my core yoga class. It's structured much the same. It's a little faster paced, and we do a lot of core work. That class is aired every Wednesday at 8 a.m. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. Try out all the other classes we have to offer, and I hope to teach you guys in person back on campus soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.